This episode begins with Mordecai and Rigby being assigned a simple task by Benson, which involves moving Dawn, a large but seemingly ordinary delivery package, from one end of the park to the other. On the surface, the assignment is mundane and unremarkable, but the episode quickly turns into a story about underestimating responsibility and the chaotic consequences of taking shortcuts. Mordecai and Rigby's initial laziness and lack of foresight immediately create tension, as their desire to finish the task as quickly as possible clashes with the need to handle the package carefully. This tension establishes the familiar dynamic where a small task escalates into an unpredictable disaster due to their impulsiveness. The turning point happens when they discover that Dawn is far from ordinary. The package seems to have a mind of its own, moving unexpectedly and resisting every attempt to control it. This introduces a surreal, almost antagonistic element to an otherwise simple delivery, turning the story into a chase-driven narrative. Mordecai and Rigby's reactions oscillate between panic and comedic overconfidence, highlighting their pattern of alternating between denial and hasty problem-solving. Their dynamic, Mordecai trying to act responsibly while Rigby constantly undermines him, fuels the humor and maintains the audience's investment in their relationship. As they attempt to transport Dawn, the package's resistance grows increasingly absurd. Dawn begins performing feats that defy physics, bouncing, rolling, and even leaping with unnatural strength. Mordecai and Rigby's repeated failures to contain Dawn escalate the chaos and serve as a commentary on how overconfidence and laziness can transform trivial tasks into life-threatening challenges. Every failed attempt to secure the package creates new comedic beats, reinforcing the show's signature mix of physical comedy and surreal exaggeration. At the same time, the episode highlights the park environment's role as a silent enabler of chaos. The empty spaces, the proximity to other park employees, and the occasional involvement of peripheral characters amplify the tension, making each misstep feel consequential. Mordecai and Rigby's frantic navigation through the park becomes a choreography of slapstick disaster, as they collide with objects, walls, and each other. The physical comedy is paired with their emotional reactions, which shift rapidly between frustration, fear, and stubborn determination, creating a rhythm that keeps the story engaging despite the simple premise. The midpoint of the episode introduces an escalation. Dawn begins to chase them actively, displaying intelligence and intent. This anthropomorphism turns a passive object into an adversary, making the conflict personal and urgent. Mordecai and Rigby's attempts to reason with the package are predictably futile, which amplifies both the absurdity and the stakes. The episode uses this escalation to examine how the duo's usual problem-solving strategies, impulse, avoidance, and improvisation, can backfire spectacularly when faced with an opponent that cannot be controlled or predicted. The climax occurs when Mordecai and Rigby are cornered, and their cumulative mistakes make it appear as though Dawn will inevitably escape or destroy everything in the park. At this moment, they are forced to coordinate fully, combining Mordecai's cautious thinking with Rigby's bold, erratic energy. Their collaboration is messy but effective, showing that their friendship, despite its flaws, remains their most reliable tool for survival. Through a combination of luck, quick thinking, and improvisation, they manage to corral Dawn into a final containment method that neutralizes the threat, restoring temporary order to the park. The resolution returns the episode to a grounded tone. Benson reappears, unaware of the chaos that just unfolded, and scolds Mordecai and Rigby for minor damages caused during the struggle. This juxtaposition of mundane reprimand with the surreal intensity of their adventure emphasizes the comedic disconnect that defines much of regular show's humor. Mordecai and Rigby, exhausted and covered in the aftermath of their ordeal, reflect briefly on the experience, though their reflection is superficial and quickly overshadowed by their next impulsive thought or scheme. This episode reinforces the recurring structure of the series. A small, ordinary responsibility spirals into an absurd, high-stakes adventure, only to conclude with a return to status quo, leaving the characters fundamentally unchanged but momentarily wiser. The focus on object-based chaos, Dawn as an independent, unpredictable adversary, demonstrates the show's ability to blend mundane tasks with surreal comedy, while the interplay between Mordecai and Rigby drives both the humor and the narrative tension. The story naturally sets up the next episode, where their desire for convenience and impulsive curiosity again entangles them in an unpredictable, over-the-top adventure that tests their friendship, patience, and problem-solving in equally bizarre ways.